Hello fellow leggers, you're joining us once again. We are in North London for a little theatre expedition.
Expedition, right.
Expedition,
Well, we
North
climbed
London.
the north face of London and ended up at one of our favourite little venues, the Almeida. We are here to see a play which is over 100 years old now.
Ooh.
Brand new adaptation of Vassa.
So stick around to hear all of our thoughts.
Find out how many stars.
Whether it's break a leg
Or leg it. It's over 100 years old. It's because actually it was written in 1910, but it wasn't first performed until 1936.
Okay.
After the original author, Maxim Gorky, rewrote it. So he sort of made a few changes. He revised the script.
Which is a good thing, right? If he wasn't happy with the first one, that means this one must be better.
Well,
but even this is an adaptation.
Exactly. So then again, maybe it's another progression. And this brand new adaptation by Mike Bartlett, who you will know from Dr. Foster.
On the BBC, I think it was?
Yes, also King Charles III, which had had Olivier Award, and it had a TV adaptation.
It did.
And also Albion here at the Almeida, which we reviewed up there. Where is Albion?
We've been saying for a long time, Mike Bartlett, if you're watching Albion, it was a fantastic piece with Victoria Hamilton. He needs to come back.
Not enough people got to see
brilliant.
it. It was absolutely brilliant. It's one of those that we're still talking about now.
Yep.
I'm really excited to be announcing this 2020 season. First revival we've done in my time at the Almeida, which is a return to the garden with Mike Bartlett's Albion. Albion is a play about a woman who buys a house with a garden and wants to restore it to its former glory. It contains maybe one of the best performances we've had at the Almeida in my time. Victoria Hamilton, who went on to win awards for her role as Audrey.
Do you know at the time we only gave it a 4?
What?
But I think it's a 5, guys, because it's a 5 guys. Let's have a
Five
burger,
Guys.
not sponsored. But I think because we're still thinking about it all these years later, it deserves an extra star.
Either way, so Mike Bartlett, he does some great writing.
He absolutely does. And this one is directed by Tinuke Craig. Now, Tinuke was a director of the recent Colour Purple musical that had a load of controversy due to the Sei Amuba sort of saga that is still ongoing. You can check out anybody
have a map where we talk about that specifically.
We absolutely do. Now, it's the story of a mother whose children return home in the face of the death of her husband and asks the question, what happens to a family when the rules of capitalism are applied?
Okay.
Interesting.
Question I often ask when eating my breakfast. So I'm glad we're going to be tackling that subject here today.
Now, the whole production almost became derailed when Samantha Bond, originally cast in the title role, injured her back way into rehearsals and had to withdraw from the production.
Oh no!
Luckily enough, the almighty experienced Siobhán Redmond has stepped into the title role.
Okay.
Now, also in the cast is the talented Cyril Neary of Barbershop Chronicles, which we've got a review for.
I saw him at the National in
Our
something.
Country's Good at the
Country's
National,
Good.
and he was in the Russell T Davies Channel 4 show Cucumber, in which he played Lance. Also in the cast is Sophie Wu. We saw her in Shopping and Fucking a few years ago. She's also portrayed Erica Cho in the Kick-Ass saga, the 2 films of the Kick-Ass. Did you see those films?
I've seen most of the first one, and I remember it being really good, actually.
Okay, what stopped you then?
It was a long time ago. I'm pretty sure I saw all of it, but I really liked it. The first one, that is. Haven't seen the second.
Interesting. Now,
Since you're asking.
The run time, only 2 hours and 5 minutes, including an interval. So pretty zippy. Looking forward to catching up with you for the 30-second interval breakdown.
And stick around to the end to hear our thoughts and find out how many stars.
We've come to the interval, which means it's time for the Break-A-Leggers 30-second interval breakdown.
Go, what do you think
Let's
so
start
far?
with you.
It's an interesting piece. I couldn't quite work out if I'm enjoying it or not, but there's a lot of plot, strong characters, and when I say plot, there's like plotting and subplotting. I'm not sure where it's going, but I am enjoying it. How about you?
I'm really not enjoying it. I'm finding it completely overblown. I'm finding the characters poorly written, badly developed, and really sloppily directed. I just can't get on board with it right now. I'm hoping the last half an hour, thank God it's a short second act, will change my mind on this one.
We've come to the end of Vassa, and here at the Almeida Theatre we have a love-hate relationship. The last piece that was here, The Doctor, is brilliant, and we said at the time we hope it has another life, and behold, it has become part of the Almeida West End. It is going into the West End, and that was brilliant.
So. But one piece that I don't think will be following it into the West End is unfortunately Vassa. It has this reputation at the Almeida of when they get it right, they get it so right, and when they get it wrong, boy, do they get it wrong.
Well, no, this wasn't wrong. Like, this isn't as bad as the wrongs I've seen in the past. Like, I was engaged in this. I couldn't quite work out the style, Lego Simon. It took me till probably close to the end of the first act to figure out it's a bit of a farce.
And the point
but
is...
a serious farce,
but that's
set
the
in
point.
Ibsen and Chekhov and Stanislavski.
Of those
kind
classic Russian writers. But the problem is there, you use the word farce, and if it was a farce, I would want it to be funny. Did I laugh once? No. Did I even titter? No. Did the audience laugh? No. Not by and large. Do you know what?
Maybe it wasn't a farce.
It felt cheap, is what it felt. It felt shooing in swearing for swearing's sake. Sort of had this thing to say about other middle classes. Can they have their own Jeremy Kyle? Are the middle classes the new working classes? Do you know what? I just thought it was low. I thought a lot of it, I thought the mood, the tone, I just thought everything was so bland. If this was a colour, it would be Magnolia.
I don't know, because I was engaged. There's some really interesting, strong characters. Plays on this idea of subservient and class, and like the low are treated low, and at the top it's all plotting and scheming and out for one thing only. There's some real kind of family interplay. It's a bit like a Don Corleone kind of thing going on, but I love the twist of sexes as well. It's the women that have the power. I liked that. It was modern language, and it's a modern cast. It's nice and rich.
But it has no particular setting.
It's rich in its diversity and its representation.
Which is great.
I loved all of those elements.
Yeah.
But there's something in it that, I mean, I know I've said it already, I didn't switch off. I wasn't bored.
Okay.
Were you bored?
Yeah, I could have left. If the second act had been longer than half an hour, I wouldn't have gone back for the second act. By Act 1, I knew what it was going.
There were a number of empty seats.
A lot of people didn't, and I'm with you guys. You know, unfortunately, we have a sort of obligation to come back and tell you guys what we think about these things. But given to my own devices, I probably would have left. What it did for me in the second act was actually piss me off a little bit, because the characters that we'd established and the personality types was established in Act 1, where we've got characters saying, I'm a nice person, I try and find the good in everybody, just turned on their head in Act 2 for no...
Who are you talking about?
Wife of the...
Okay, the one that was always nice.
Yeah, and then
Act 2,
isn't
that a journey?
she acted like a complete... No, but there was no... You can have a journey if you go on the journey, but what we did with that was we watched scene 1 and then the last scene. We didn't follow that journey at all, and then we expected to get on board with these people. The character development was all wrong. I would expect better from Mike Bartlett, and actually I'm a bit appalled.
Okay, I thought it was okay.
Whoa, brilliant. Because we're going for okay.
But you're kind of signing it as you're appalled and awful.
Well,
I'm not
just
quite
surprised.
there.
I'm not.
Do you know what I mean?
Okay, let me rephrase that. Disappointed, really disappointed, and surprised at, considering the level of Mike Bartlett's writing we've had before, where we've had these fantastically fleshed out characters. Think about the mother in Albion. Think about that strong female writing that have depth and layers, and the soaring humour he can write, and the witty observations. This felt phoned in for me, and I was just disappointed.
I don't know. I thought all the characters were very specific. Their views were very strong and very well written, of that classic genre of theatre that this comes from.
Fine.
For me.
Let's talk about some of those actors.
Okay.
Not a single one amongst them stood out for me in an extraordinary way, unfortunately.
I really liked the young son who they wanted to send to a monastery at the very end.
Are you giving that
away?
We're going to
give it
let's give it... Where is he? There he is. So the Almeida make it really difficult to work out. Arthur Hughes.
I really liked Arthur Hughes. I thought he had some good stuff to work with. I believed what he did. He's kind of comes across as a bit of a pathetic character, but he's disadvantaged because of what they see in him. So it doesn't matter what he does, he can never be successful because of the shallowness of the characters and how they view him, which is a real tragedy. But I thought he played that really well, of just wanting to be seen and give me a goddamn chance. That's all I gotta say.
Fantastic. Would say I did like. Well, I didn't dislike.
That's how far we've got.
Yeah.
When the most you can go to is you didn't dislike.
Yeah.
Once we figure out the
Amber
pictures.
James, I didn't dislike, who is the returning daughter.
That's what she was going for.
Yeah, I
She's
didn't.
going for not being disliked.
Good.
That's what
Well,
you
she
often say to
succeeded.
me.
I didn't dislike her. There were some of them I did dislike. I'm not going to name any of them, but I did absolutely dislike
Just point them out
a
to me in the
few, a
programme.
few of them.
Okay.
It wouldn't be fair.
So let's.
And I'm not sure. Do you know what? Looking at their past credits and knowing their ability, it is not at the fault of the actor in this. It is the fact that, in my opinion, they've got a poor text and they've been badly directed.
Okay. I liked the. Let's talk about the direction. That I liked the movement of the performers on stage.
It was a completely different set of
I
direction
thought
in
it
Act
was
2 for me.
going in and out. Some
Like
quite stylistic stuff in
which
Act 2.
didn't exist at all in Act 1. It felt like
thought that was,
it could have been two different directors. I wouldn't have been surprised.
There's quite a lot of movement at times and lots of overlapping text. I like those moments, and that kind of really heightened it for me, even though it wasn't great. But in terms of the text, they're working with, I guess, the whole narrative. But those moments were really exciting,
Yeah.
and it's slightly electric.
Were
I'd say
they?
I enjoyed those.
I
bits.
found myself laughing at them though, not with them, because it was so ridiculous. Like it was completely. It felt ludicrous at times.
Well, the plot is the plot. They can only do what they work with. I found those bits
But
enjoyable.
those directorial moments, I was like, this is completely ludicrous, guys. Like, please let us have some sense of. I couldn't relate to it. I wanted
Okay.
to relate.
Okay, also in terms of set design, I thought the set design was interesting. Just a big empty space, pretty much,
Fly
with a number of
Davis.
doors. I thought that offered some really interesting ways of working with the cast, so I thought that was interesting. Lighting, there wasn't much going on in terms of lighting, it just was. Music, some real like dramatic jump to
Yeah,
really ramp
classical
up the
music.
drama, as if to say, the legacy and empire, this kind of things
Emma
going on.
Laxton for sound.
Which I guess suited it and kind of up the ante. Well, Leggers, you're probably wondering how many stars we're going to give Vassa that is currently playing here at the Almeida Theatre. Before we do, as usual, please make sure you hit subscribe,
Yep.
hit the like button, hit the dislike button, leave your comments below. But hey, how many stars are we going to give?
For Vassa, we are going to give 2.
2 stars!
Don't bother, guys.
Well, it's not.
No, come and make your own opinion, obviously,
Come
because
and make it-
we
'cause it's
always
just-
say
do
that
you know
because
what?
it's just our opinion.
Yeah, man, come and see it.
But-
because what did we
but
get wrong? Let us know. Tell us.
Have
Comment
we missed
below.
something? But for me, another miss by the Almeida. But do you know what? It's what I've come to expect.
No, it's not their worst misses. I've seen worse misses. This was, like I say, there was stuff going on, interesting themes, great representation. Nice to see something different, and you've got to have
What
the
was different about this?
not great. Well, I've not seen a interpretation,
A Maxim
adaptation.
Gorky play, is
Yeah, I've
that
not
it?
seen a Gorky play. I've not seen adaptation of this type. I've not seen this kind of farcical-ish, if it was a farce, of this style. So do you know what I mean?
But
I've
you're
got to
hoping-
see this stuff to be able to appreciate the good stuff.
Then I'm with you.
So it's all relative.
I'm with you there, guys. If this is the lows, then bring on the highs. But do you know what? That's what I think.
And tell me what I think.
What do you think? Yeah.
Let us
Come
know.
to the Almeida. It's a beautiful venue. It's
It
it's
is.
such a friendly place, guys, and it's just a lovely atmosphere. And we're the Breaker Leggers.
And we'll catch you again soon.
Bye.